The Oranathi Technoclave is technically at war right now. Technically. But we're pretty much ignoring the front line and minding our own business while we patch up the economy because I was more or less a noob when I was playing this series last, evidently. Hey there, Legion, it's Hadrian. Thank you for being here. Let's play some more Stellaris Ancient Relics in our Legacy of the Forerunners series. This is the Shard, Grand Dragon, that is guarding our relic world here, Campira. Now, as I mentioned in the last episode, Campira is relatively close to the heart of the Empire, so dealing with that issue is a very, very, very domestic situation and nothing else at the moment. Let's take a quick look at which worlds are supported by... Actually, we still have a lot of exploration going on. I can order you to explore and find some new things, so let's do that.
Construction project complete.
I'm so accustomed to not having any exploring to do, but there are still spaces in the galaxy that have not yet been... Oh yeah, lots of it. If we can manage to make it there, my God. So much to do. So we spent a lot of time in the last episode kind of patching up the economy a little bit, and things are going pretty well. Looks like Sukadrig Den Hulos has become more experienced, but with this experience has come an increasing stubbornness. So they're commanding the Kermandur. That's a shame. Stubbornness is not the worst negative trait to have, but still don't like it. All right, antimatter missiles is done. Do we really not have mineral purification yet? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Good Lord. There's definitely some techs here that we just by virtue of RN Jesus, by the blessings of RN Jesus, we do not have access to some of the most basic techs yet in the game. So that's getting worked on. Let's go ahead and upgrade these ships. Governing ethics shift in the Justkan Confederacy, so they're now more openly egalitarian. One thing that's going to happen this episode relatively quickly, we're building up to 250 influence where we will be able to reform our government.
Concluded.
And I'm rather excited about that. That's something we've been waiting on
Fleet enhancements
since the series went on hiatus in, can I say mid-late 2019?
Research concluded.
It wasn't mid-2019, or rather it was late-mid 2019. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say. It was late, but it was like early in the period you would call the late period. Anyway, it was like October, I think, or a little bit sooner when the series went on hiatus. So, shield capacitor is done. Okay, fewer cheap options this time, and that's fine. Let's go with the one that's going to unlock additional choices. Gamma laser, 25 months away. Take a quick look at our unemployment. We're playing on speed 3.
Construction project concluded.
Curator order has at least one station in this system. Now I can build a starport here and synergize with curators a little bit. So let's do that. I'm amazed I haven't done it already, to tell you the God's honest truth. We do have room for additional starports too. Any obvious opportunities in that regard? Actually, yes. There are obvious opportunities. Hang on. Can I already do that? No. Okay, so this is not inside a nebula. Almost. However, this is inside a nebula. So I'm going to build another one of my new stations here. Okay. Already done. Production targets and mineral purification plants. That was such an old technology that it took 6 months, and we were 6 months dead. Just finished it. And then let's see. Mineral purification hubs. Makes sense to follow that previous research with this one, so why don't we just continue along that track? Get it done.
System survey concluded without incident.
What was that? Oh, we're at maximum war exhaustion. Well, I mean... could we potentially help with this? We could push back against the Lozavada if we move down into this territory. How strong is their fleet? It's not that strong. All right, so I've been talking about ignoring the front line, but why don't we not ignore the front line? Why don't we come down here and help them out a little bit? We're at maximum war exhaustion right now, so we could fix that problem. Okay. Let's just take care of that. The Rectalar refuge. Oh, never mind. We're at peace. A flotilla of civilian transports carrying Rectalar refugees from the Citizen Coalition of Zathoria have arrived in our space. They've been allowed to settle on Campira. These unfortunate outcasts were forcefully expelled from their homes by the Zathorian authorities. They have been traveling from system to system since then in a desperate attempt to find new homes before the last of their dwindling supplies were used up. They're welcome here. All right, the Lozavada is no longer a valid... Oh, check this out. So the Lozavada have split into Lozavada Stellar Industries. And they are in a non-aggression pact with the Huvuduzan conglomerate. And it seems like they are also on better terms with us. And they border us. So we have new border buffer buddies. So why don't we go ahead and form a non-aggression pact with them. It's going to reduce our influence per month by a little bit, but you know what? Well, it's already been reduced because they weren't a valid empire anymore. Damn it. Okay, hang on. All right, so we're rivals with them. No, I don't want to rival them. Who doesn't like me? Okay, so the Evandari Trade Association. What about the Seklock? No, they like us. Just trying to find, like, an obvious foe. Like, really obvious foe. No, we're in pretty good terms with people. We've been fairly benevolent this playthrough, so that doesn't shock me. So it looks like our most obvious foe is the Evandari. So let's declare a rivalry with them, because we can do that now. And we'll get some additional influence per month from that. Let's do it. Alright, so never mind. We are not going to do anything special with that fleet. I'm going to send them back to the home base to where we are not losing quite as much energy per month. Still have a bit of a food shortage. That's okay. Things are getting better. How are we doing on rare crystals? Oh yeah, definitely have room to do some additional upgrades. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and buy 100 more. Because that's how ready to do additional upgrades I am. Alright, we don't quite have a planetary capital everywhere we need one in order to get those going. But that, I think that's the end of our consumer goods problem, thankfully. Oh, speed through, please. And we have lots of colonies that are relatively small. So I think we're about to see, assuming I can keep everything in balance and nothing goes horribly wrong, I think we're about to see a bit of an economic explosion.
Transmission.
Non-aggression pact invitation from the Lozavada Stellar Industries. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'll go ahead and accept that. We're still almost at 250. We'll have what we need to get everything taken care of. So that's a good thing.
Research concluded.
The Huvuduzan conglomerate will now guarantee the independence of Lozavada Stellar Industries. That's not a bad idea for us to do either. This is going to cost us more influence, though. And then we can form a commercial pact with them, which will help us economically. All of these things will cost us influence. I hate it. I hate it. We're going to have to manage our factions to do a better job of that. Let's see. Research agreement seems to be the most sensible. Maybe I'll just hold off for now. We do have a new tradition available, so let's see how close we are. Oh, we're just starting the harmony tree. So we've adopted it. Pop food consumption was reduced by 10%. Leader lifespan increase. The time it takes for unemployed pops to demote to a lower stratum is reduced by 50. And governing ethics attraction increased by 25. Let's increase governing ethics attraction, because that could help with our influence situation over time by reducing discord in the population. All right, fleet command limit plus 20. That seems like a really, really obvious, like, sensible choice. I'm going to go for food processing centers, though, because we need stuff like that. And speaking of food, you know one thing I can do? Hold that thought. Wait a minute. Yeah, Hydroponics Bay. That's what I was looking for. I don't know why I couldn't see it, but it's right there. This will help with the food situation. Let's do some hydroponics bays on our core stations. Maybe not in Asterope. But we have you all the way out in Zondaban, Syliv. We have all these that haven't really been upgraded. Hang on. Just more these. there's a lot of little things that I wasn't attending to very well. There's a reason I went on hiatus, people. I'll talk about it when we get to a look-ahead video, but, you know. Obviously, my attentiveness to a lot of these details in these series was lacking, and you can tell. So I'm just acknowledging the elephant in the room, because there were things here that I was just letting slip way under my radar. All right, so we'll do some food production there. And then Cytine, we're going to do the same thing there. We'll have a little bit of food production. And we have some more upgrades that we can do. We have a few more stations on the way. All right, let's go back to speed 3. We're gaining 2.42 influence per month. Let's take a quick look at our factions. Encounter in Weemall. Nice. Omicron aliens. Let's go ahead and research them. That could lead to some influence. Now, let's see here, though. Our largest faction is not particularly happy. All right, so we need to outlaw purges to make them happier. We need to make refugees welcome. We need to enlighten a species. There might be some primitives that I can enlighten. And then we need to federate, if possible. And we might federate in this series. We might. It could happen. Let's go to policies, though, and make those good folks happy. Policies, where are you? F6, there we go. All right, refugees. Let's say refugees welcome. And then purges are prohibited. Now, that's going to make our largest faction a lot happier. Now, that being said, we also have this faction, Science Without Borders. Signing research treaties with at least 3 other empires will please the Association of Technological Mastery. This is our second largest faction. So let's just see how that did.
Special project concluded.
Okay. Didn't help too much. Gave us about 0.4 influence gain per month. But now we're almost to 250. Crystalline entities. The reports of strange, free-floating crystal-like objects observed in certain systems have been investigated. The ship-sized objects and their we can't see them, and their slightly smaller but equally crystal-like satellites at first appeared inert, but sudden shifts in their orientation relative to our ships and new energy signatures emerging from within the prisms indicate that they should be regarded as hazardous and approached with caution. As we do not yet wish to risk coming into contact with these prismatic enigmas, we ought to establish remote surveillance and observe them from the capital. So
situation log
we can learn
updated.
to coexist. It's going to finish in 6 months. Let's go ahead and work on that. Now, saying that I have some... These are not in my territory. Oh, one is. Okay, we have an archaeological site. Let's go ahead and take care of that, shall we? We had some very good narratives take place earlier in the series. Okay, so I can see where you are. All right, there's one relatively close to our space. That's a relatively high-level scientist as well. So you go check that out, please. All right, we're almost there. We are so almost there. Okay, next month, we're reforming our government. I don't even know what I'm going to do, reform-wise. I'm going to do something. It's going to be fun. But I don't know what I'm going to do yet. Okay. All right, let's do a Naval Logistics Office here. Fleet Academy here. And it seems like it's time to queue up some upgrades. Let's go ahead and upgrade the Vadris shipyard, which is our main shipyard, to a Star Fortress. It'll be our first Star Fortress.
System survey concluded.
There's an argument for not needing this as much anymore.
Construction project concluded.
Interesting. All right, so now we have the opportunity. Yeah, it requires a black hole. Curator think tank. All right, now I should be able... We would like to establish a mutual think tank. There we go. And that will give us some additional research in that system. And then we could do an anchorage to help with naval capacity because we don't have a ton of naval cap right now. Let's go ahead and do 2 more anchorages. Just slowly getting this series up to speed.
Research concluded.
Lots of colonizing to do too. But I'm making do with the territory I have. What did we just finish? Mineral purification hubs. Okay. So we can keep going. We can say minerals from miners. Let's go ahead and do that. It's a relatively cheap technology.
Construction project.
We have one
complete.
construction ship coming up to take care of that dark matter before long. So if you see that, don't worry, I'm on it. We could go ahead
Special
and
project
start a new
concluded.
colony. Just one at a time. Nice. Crystalline pacification modifier added, giving the following effects. Crystalline entity fleets are rendered non-hostile, and we have the crystal-infused plating research option. Resonant. Okay, let's look at our expansion planner. Let's look at the biggest planet at the closest distance. So it seems like Azax 2 is a pretty big world, and we also have some... Ooh, Kunbar 3A is a small planet, but with some rare resources, bubbling swamp and fuming bog. Zandaban 2 is one that I think I definitely need to colonize. That might be the one to go for. So we could let the Hyren take it, or the Lozavada. It makes sense for the Lozavada to have that world. It does. So let's go, because it's close to their territory. So why don't we go ahead and let them colonize it? And have I used any particular naming conventions? No, I've just used the random generator. So right now we have Idramore. Let's see if we can get a similar name. Actually, I like Tarimba. That has a certain... It pairs well with Idramore. Idramore and Tarimba. All right, then Tentramoda. You're ready for something new. Don't quite know what, but we'll figure it out. Let's clear a blocker, first of all. Okay, so we're doing better on our rare resources. We have some food production here, so let's go ahead and do the food processing facilities to start bolstering that. Our economy is completely in the black, finally. Now our sole focus, in addition to just locking down our territory and continuing to improve the economy, is to build up our fleet to the point that it is prepared to take on the Grand Dragon. So we do have the Grand Herald on our side, and that does help the fleet to a certain degree. Speaking of helping the fleet to certain degrees, let's go ahead and design. We have the Thagarian class battleship. That sounds very Game of Thrones. Sounds like I'm saying Targaryen. But the Thagarian class is mainly weapons class with a few scout wing fighters. I'm going to replace these with improved strike craft, though, because I think it deserves that kind of attention. Okay, so let's build a artillery class. Yeah. Just artillery through and through. So we can have a couple of railguns on the front. Plasma accelerators on the rear. And then just another railgun on the back. We're not going to worry about lasers on the artillery ship. Eventually we'll replace those items that we just set up with the more fun artillery options that we get, that we can apply to those particular ship types. All right. Now, we have regenerative hull tissue now, so I might go through and add that to all of my ships. Let's see. Why don't we do afterburners? And this is going to be the... Yeah, I like Etherian. All right, so this is the Etherian and Thagarian classed battleships. But let's take a look at the Thagarian, and we're going to replace... I want these ships to be able to regenerate. They look like ships that should be able to regenerate, so let's give them that ability, rather than have the auxiliary fire control, which is perfectly nice. I'd rather have the extra speed and the ability for these ships to repair themselves. That's what I like. Actually costs less power to have regenerative hull tissue than the auxiliary fire control, which is technically a good thing, I suppose. All right, Task Force Campus. Let's do a couple of things. We're going to give the order to upgrade you guys, and I don't know if that was all of the possible upgrades, but we also will now be able to add the Etherian-class battleships. So let's have... Perfect. Let's have those added. Can't build them yet, but we'll get there. Getting close to being able to take on the Shard. I'm really excited to finally be done with that. Now, we can also uplift these primitives. They're in the Stone Age. The Fex Klong, oh man, they're in a Stone Age. Can't even see anything about them right now with like what they look like. Okie dokie. We might lift them up a little bit later. Oh, that's right. It's time to go ahead and reform the government, isn't it? Through hard work and experience, Sandris Pudrigden Tarab has developed new skills. I got so distracted by just like how many things I looked over in the previous run on this series. Okay, advanced food processing is done. Yeah, let's go ahead and research that last tile blocker. And we are going to, right now we are at Cutthroat Politics and Technocracy. So with Technocracy, capital jobs replace some administrator jobs with science directors. Researchers also produce one unity, which is nice. Let's reform the government. We're going to add an additional civic. We are going to stay as oligarchic. So we can be an agrarian idle civilization, which means generator, mining, and agriculture districts provide one more housing. City districts provide one less housing. Farmers provide 2 amenities. Corvée system, pop growth from immigration, and cheaper resettlement cost. We could do efficient bureaucracy and get additional admin cap. I mean, that would serve a very practical purpose, but I don't know that I like it from a story perspective. Environmentalist, I think we're okay. Functional architecture reduces build cost and upkeep for all buildings and districts by 10%. That I kind of like. Meritocracy, leader level cap +1 and specialist output +10%. Specialist output, so all of the medium tier workers, or not workers rather, the specialists, all the medium tier pops would gain a 10% boost to their productivity. Mining guilds would give us extra minerals from miners. Shadow Council would reduce the influence cost of elections, which I kind of like because that gives us the opportunity to select oligarchs more easily, which also kind of makes sense with the fact that we have cutthroat politics. So that's a good role play choice. Police state, we're already playing a police state empire on the channel, so just from a content variety perspective, I'll avoid that. So the ones that I like the most are functional architecture, Shadow Council, and meritocracy. I like the idea as pacifist as we've been, and also since we're the Oranathi Technoclave, we're supposed to be, if you take the stereotypes from the way that the modern world, from one perspective, tends to look at like science versus religion. It's not that religion is wholly bad, but it's seen as a force. I'm thinking about the Oranathi Technoclave versus the divine Oranathi hierarchy. It's seen as a force that's kind of holding things back. So from a roleplay perspective, it would be interesting to have a Shadow Council where, despite the fact that we are this quote-unquote more advanced, more evolved, mentally civilization, we still have this political system that has a Shadow Council that is orchestrating things from the scenes. I like that idea. Let's go ahead and reform that. So that's not going to give us an immediate benefit. The benefit will be more obvious when we have the option to select new rulers and new oligarchs. And oligarchs, of course, are selected every 20 years. And I don't know when... Next election, here we go, 2320. So we still have about 10 years. Oligarch Valdrig Den Tarab is going to be in charge for a while. Let's go ahead and reform with the Shadow Council. And there we go. Let's play for another minute or two
Construction
here.
project concluded.
Now, I did have this station building. All right, good. Bardagon, what I can do with you is build a nebula refinery. That was one of the reasons I built you out there. And then I suppose I can do some anchorages. Not quite ready for an upgrade yet. That's fine. Because we're busy upgrading our ships.
A declaration of war has been announced.
The Evandari Trade Association has declared war on the Theklock entity. Researchers on Nelvadris have eagerly anticipated the countdown of the mysterious, oh yeah, I forgot about this, atomic clock of prodigious precision found on Delta Pavonis 2A for the past 42 years and 3 days. Several decades worth of heated speculation and conjecture have evaporated in an instant. The clock has just now reached its momentous deadline, ejecting a stream of self-replicating nanites. These nanites are streaming on a trajectory towards another planet in the Delta Pavonis system, Delta Pavonis 2, projected to arrive within a month. Whatever may happen once they arrive remains to be seen. So Delta Pavonis 2 is a barren world with no modifiers. Keep us informed. And so these were on Delta Pavonis 2A. So they literally came from the moon and are going to... Oh, that's interesting. So they came from here. And now they're going to here. So they're projected to arrive within the month.
Fleet enhancement supplied.
That'll be an interesting endpoint.
System survey concluded.
This might give us an additional planet worth colonizing here. Speaking of which...
System survey concluded.
Well, we'll read that in a second. Hang on. I'm wondering where... Hang on. Where is my colony ship? I gave the order for a colony to be started up here. Where is it? That's what I just realized. That's why I'm pausing. It's like, hold on a minute. I remember naming the planet. Did I name the planet but not click colonize? No, because the when you're colonizing, the name screen is what gives you the option. Right? So where... Oh, wait, shipyard. Duh. Here we go. All right, Galaman. Picarian class. So it's being built. There we go. So I was just looking at the wrong queue. The arrival. The nanite system... stream ejected by the atomic clock on the Delta Pavonis system asteroid belt has made planetfall, oh, I'm liking the text I'm seeing already, on Delta Pavonis 2. Replicating at an incredible rate, the nanites cover the entire surface of the planet in a period of hours, proceeding to terraform it into a Gaia world. Hours after the completion of the terraforming event, the nanites involved in the process deactivated and decayed beyond recognition, leaving us with little ability to extract any information from them. However, their remains have peppered the surface of the now very tempting planet with valuable metallic composites. Incredible. Check that out. Well, before we wrap here, let's take a look. A 24... Oh, we're colonizing this right frickin' now.
Construction project concluded.
So this is... kind of like Eldetha. Has a lot of the word elder in there. Let's go Eldathira. Okay. So that's a great note to end on. We just got a free Gaia world. It's down here, but we're going to be able to establish a sector based on that because there's some other planets in the area, so that's really quite useful. I think also this is an area, yeah, the Uthan system. This planet... Hold on, which one? Yes, Uthan 1 is a terraforming candidate, and we have the ability to terraform it now. As a matter of fact, we just don't quite have the energy to do it. But we have some... I think there's at least one other terraforming candidate in our territory that we can add. And then we now that we've expanded our government, we can finish taking this territory and be finally done. So we have some really cool decisions to make coming up in the next couple of episodes. We aren't at war, thankfully, with anyone right now. So it's really just a matter of continuing to manage the economy to the best of our ability. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this one, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to follow along. New episodes are coming out every day at 1 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. Comments are always welcome. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.